Since I'm got a little time on my hands and want to keep working, I'm going to go ahead and jump to page 19 and bag 13 and go past the shock mounting to step 2 and start setting up the servo. And in case you were curious just how fast this servo is, at only 6 volts, it rotates 60 degrees, which is the standard measuring amount, in 0.05 seconds. 5/100ths of a second, it can sweep 60 degrees. Now that's unloaded, but you get the idea. That's incredibly fast. And if you were running this on 7.4 volts, you get that distance in 4/100ths of a second. That's just outstanding. So let's have a look at our parts in this bag. Looks like we've got our battery mount. And we've got some plastic horns, which we're not going to use. I'm going to use aluminum. We got some little buttons for on top of our wing, which we're not going to use. I've got a little carbon crossbar here from Avid. And this is part of our servo mount here for our floating servo mount. And this is another piece of our floating servo mount. And here's another piece of our floating servo mount. So let's get into these bags. So we need 4 3x6s. Now I'm not going to totally tighten that down right now because I'm going to adjust that to the servo. And I'm going to break out these. This is a ProTech aluminum servo mount grommets in blue to match all the other blue anodized stuff. And some screws, which I am probably not going to use. And since these are ProTech, they are going to fit on our ProTech servo. Too much time in computers. Sorry about that. So now I just need some hardware that is going to fit the head of it in here. And let's see, what are they? What have we got here? Those are probably 8 or 10s. So that's going to leave plenty of thread there to go into the aluminum mount. Now these are really going to anchor down the servo. They are a ProTech product, so it's designed to work with their servo. And it fills up that extra space where, like in the old days on airplanes and stuff, you would have a rubber gasket or grommet in there that would go, and then have a little brass eyelet through that, and then have a screw coming through, mounting it to some piece of plywood or spruce. Which back in the day was just fine because servos were very expensive and very delicate. And so everything was done to protect them from shock and whatnot. But that is no longer the case. Servos are cheap and durable, and it's better to risk the servo and have it be securely mounted with no flex, because, you know, when you have rubber grommets and stuff, you're allowing the servo to potentially move around, but the argument being that you're sparing it damaging itself. Then you don't have good control. So there we have a really nicely mounted servo. That's a beautiful piece of equipment. I'm going to go ahead and pull this wire through here. Okay. Just looking at these are our wheel bolts. They're super narrow and serrated. I have a set that is the same shape as these, but it's titanium, and I'll bet they weigh a fraction of what those weigh. I've been waiting for the proper kit to put them on, and this is it. Oh, I've got this on backwards. I need the drive side over here. No biggie. Three by 6. There we go. I could put a longer screw in there. Let me see if I've got a set of 4s. I'm going to a set of 8s, 3 by 8s. I think I'd rather have more screw going through that aluminum. Let me just see something. Yeah. Let's do it. Save these for something else. They definitely go through, but I think it's worth it just to make sure this is solid. There's only 2 screws holding this on. Okay, I'll go back to the 6s. No. No, 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 no. That's an amazing difference. Yeah, it doesn't even go through all of the threads. I'd rather have it go through all the threads with a little bit protruding than have only half of the threads covered. This thing needs to stay in place. Okay, let's do a servo test. Okay, that's centered. So you got a little lock washer. So these basically just locate the battery within a certain range of space. Mainly, I think it's just to make allowances for batteries of different sizes. You know, that are like, let's say, a shorty pack, but you know, a few millimeters longer or wider. It does give us a little bit of weight change, though. That's a lot of work to go through. I don't know why they don't just do like a you know, Velcro tie and a couple of movable blocks or whatever, but some things just get over-engineered. Now, bearing in mind that I don't plan, operative word, to ever use one of these plastic control horns, if I'm at an event and I have a servo go bad and I've got to buy something off the shelf, it would be nice to have the various spline counts so I don't have to worry about finding a horn as well. So those just go in the box. And we need a 3x10. Now I've got a little kit on order that is a pair of studs and a pair of twist bolts. And that'll make life easier. I've had very good luck with the RevTech X Factor motors. This is a 7-turn Dakota Fend motor. Okay, they want us to align the motor very specifically. If you'll look on page 20, step 6, which is at the bottom, there's a little exclamation point, and in that little window there, you'll see how they want the motor to be basically mounted like this. So that when the motor is flat, the connectors are going to be off to the side at about a 45-degree angle. And you need two 3x12s. Okay, our motor is mounted. And they want us to put on a, they don't give us, they say not included as far as the pinion gear, but they don't give us any information about that pinion gear, what pitch, recommended counts. And of course, that's very relative to the track and other factors, but range would be nice. Let me check out the tuning section back here and see if they give us any information on that. Nope, one page. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to go to my build sheet and see what they're using. Okay. Okay, 20 tooth, but it doesn't give me information beyond that. Okay, 48 pitch. And I'm going to use an 18 tooth to start. And we'll see where that goes. I didn't really tighten it down. I'm going to wait, and it may need to flip it 180 degrees. In fact, that's probably why there's this cutaway here. It may need to go down further, so we'll see. Don't need to worry about that until I'm actually mounting this in. So that's taken care of. And here is the ESC. It's an XR10 Pro Elite. I've got a lot of these, the hobby wings and various types of the XE runs. I've got them in trucks and cars, and they seem to do very well. And I like not having to go to, 3 or 4 different programming boxes. In fact, these you can connect to with a Bluetooth device, which I have, and that makes it really handy. You just pick up your phone and plug in the little device, and you've got a nice interface. You can make any changes you need. And that's nice small footprint. I might even be able to put my receiver on this same little pallet here. We'll see. That would be nice to be able to take it all off all at once. Might shorten this cord up here, or just bundle it. We'll see. Now, we got a lot of directions and such here, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep the box, keep everything, extra stuff in it. Okay, let's see, it's only 4:15 in the morning. I think I'm gonna hit the hay. Okay, so here's the bag with my steering rack parts, and I finally got the steering rack hat bushings. These are the part where one of them was missing from the kit. I had originally purchased this kit from A-Main Hobbies. I explained the situation, and they were very nice and sent me a credit because I had already paid for these. I bought them after hours when I couldn't speak to somebody in customer service. And this really should have been a warranty issue for Team Associated. They should have been the ones to take care of that. But A-Main Hobbies, I've had a great relationship with them for the last handful of years. They always come through for me on little problems like this. They're just an excellent vendor, and customer service is hard to come by these days. So just in case you need them at some point, part number 92169, and they only cost $3.99, and they credited me $5 for the parts. So that's great. You know, sometimes items like this are easier to put together if you pre-thread the part a little bit. So first we want to make sure we've got the right height, because you could flip this top or bottom and it's hard to tell which is top and which is bottom. So that is our top. So just to make this a little easier to get everything going. So now that that part is, excuse me, pre-threaded, it's much easier to put together now that I'm not trying to get the first threads going while I have this long assembly dangling off the screw. Now this is one of those things where you want to be careful about how much you tighten it, because you don't want to collapse that the hat, but you don't want to leave it with jiggle either. Okay, that's great. So now I can go ahead and start getting this together, but as long as I'm here, I might as well get my linkages connected. Now, I want this to be as close as possible to a straight line. And it's looking like I need an extra 2 millimeters in there, if not more. I've also ordered a little part. This carbon fiber piece is available in aluminum with 3 holes that overlap each other. That way you can move this in more and take some of the leverage out of here, reduce the amount of throw this arm has to move to get this one to move. And that would also bring that in closer to the pivot point, making this closer to being a straight line. So I'm looking forward to that coming in. I also got replacements for these 2 plastic pieces in aluminum. They don't have a lot of flex, but I figured why not? And so that'll be a little upgrade I'll do down the road. And I'm going to go ahead and backstop this with an aluminum lock nut. So we've got a couple obstacle issues here. Depending on how much throw we're running up against this, and over this way we're going to bring the arm down against the servo here. So I'm going to need to, one of the first things I'm going to have to do is go into the radio and tune the sub trims or endpoints and adjust it so that this servo arm can only go so far, because I don't want it running up against the turnbuckle here of the steering arm. One of the nice things Associated did is put a center mark here. That's what this little arrow is for. And you can basically look down from above and line that up on the center of your drive shaft coming out. And that way you know this part is centered. And so then you make that adjustment to your center point on your steering servo. And then you, again, make that adjustment from your left and right tie rods to adjust your steering here. So let me start. And again, this is just rough for right now. And that's pretty close. And this one's going to need about the same. So I don't even need to look at the alignment because I know how short this arm has to be in like the last one. So that's just ballparked for now. Likewise, the camber links are ballparked. This will go onto a tuning board before first runs, and everything will get adjusted. But we're getting close to finished here. Let me see about this fan, because our motor is going to be right about there. So I can move the fan to the opposite side of this bracket. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to do that or not, but Looks like it's good for that. These little rocket fans, I've been getting them off of Amazon, and they are fantastic. They have an RPM rate of like 14,000 RPMs. I mean, they really push some air. It's like 12 or 14,000. This little arm here for the fan mount, there are several companies that make aftermarket versions of it in aluminum. I can't imagine why you would spend, I mean, there's lots of things I'll spend extra money on to have strength or whatever, you know, to swap aluminum for plastic. But a fan mount, I mean, that's just money down the drain. If all you're trying to do is get a look like every single part is blue anodized, you know, whatever. I mean, I've got plenty of blue anodized aluminum on here, but it's not for any other than practical reasons. I mean, I made it all blue because as long as I was putting on aluminum anodized parts and they were available in different colors, you know, get blue. Why have, like, you know, yellow and green and gold and red and all mixed together with some blue? It doesn't cost any more to have one color or another, usually. Sometimes they give a discount on certain colors that just aren't selling because they want to move the product, but they're still the same piece. So now this has moved the fan much closer to the motor because the motor is going to be right on this bolt line here. So it's practically against the back of the motor. That's great because there's air inlets all the way around here, plus down the center line. That's great. The fans are going to be about 3 or 4 millimeters away from the back of the motor tops. That's nice. So I am waiting on the pins for my diff. Those should be in this afternoon or evening. So I'll get to finishing that. In the meantime, I could put the motor mount bracket in and a few other knickknacks, but maybe I'm better off doing the sway bars. That's a good thing to do.